everybody. Tell the Truth Monday, 10-0. Told the team after our victory, I was elated after the victory. I was proud of them. They were a little disappointed in their play in some areas, but I told them, so listen, the object was to win the football game, and we did. But anything that goes wrong, put it on my shoulders. And we're going to get some stuff fixed this week. We got a lot of things to fix, which will be good. A couple of good things that we did. 58 points, over 700 yards of offense. I thought the MVPs of the game was Coach Craig and the offensive line. Bedard Char and Adrian McGee at tackles played well. Did they play great? No, they made some mistakes, a couple of them. But for us to have 700-something yards with those guys at tackle, I thought those guys did very well. Next man up. Very proud of those guys. On defense, we got to coach them better. Starts with me. We got to put them in better positions. They gave us some schemes. They gave us some problems that we had to work on very hard yesterday to get some answers for. And our players are going to get that today. So number one starts with me, coaching them better. Number two, we got to make plays when we get in space and make tackles. Plumlee was an excellent quarterback. Give them some credit. They had a good scheme. But I know we're going to get it fixed. I know the men in our room is going to be fine. I believe in Dave Aranda. I believe in our coaching staff, and I believe in our players. And we're going to have a great defense. I know that. Special teams, very pleased with our special teams. 7 on 7 PATs, 3 field goals, longest of 52, kickoffs 8, touchbacks, 2 fair catches, hands teams, 2 big-time recoveries there. And we didn't even get the punt. How about that? So outstanding day on special teams. On to Arkansas, place that I'm very grateful for. I spent 2 years up there in 1986 as an assistant strength coach. And then I was a graduate assistant on the football field. I learned a lot of stuff from Coach Hatfield, Coach Greg, Fred Goldsmith up there. Those guys were phenomenal. I really enjoyed my time up there. So a lot of respect for that university and what they did for me early in my career. A little bit about Arkansas. Obviously, they're going to be fired up. I've been an interim coach. They had an open date, so obviously he's changed things around. Coach Looney's changed things around. He's going to rally the troops. They're going to come out and give their best effort. We know they will. On offense, they're spread. A lot of similar plays, a lot of similar quarterback runs that we just saw at Ole Miss. KJ Jefferson, their quarterback, number 11. Dual threat quarterback, solid runner. Rakeem Boyd's one of the best running backs, as we all know. We faced him last year in the league. Treylon Burks, a guy I personally tried to recruit out of Warren, Arkansas, big athletic receiver. Okay, on defense, a couple of guys that we know well. McTevian Agim, I call him Sosa, is their best lineman. He has 6 sacks, very fast. I think he ran like a 4.6 40 when we recruited him. They have several guys from Louisiana, Scooters, a middle linebacker, doing very well, one of the top linebackers in the SEC. A lot of guys from Louisiana on that team. They're 4-3, and I know they're going to want to do very well. And then Treylon Burks is one of their top special teams guys. Tell the Truth Monday, I can't wait to see our team today. We're excited to put this last game to bed. Press on to Arkansas. I'm excited that we're at home for our last 2 games. I know we're going to have a great crowd. Any questions?
Ed, after the game, I think a lot of us were expecting you to be angry, about the defensive performance. But right away, you were talking about the positives.
Yeah.
Why is it important to keep, everything in perspective, I guess, and kind of weigh where you are and what you still have left to do?
Yeah. I try to see the feeling of the football team. And I knew they were a little disappointed. And I think I'd have just added fuel to the fire there. I thought they needed to be picked up a little bit and to compliment them on a win and not take for granted winning. And, we've been on some other teams that might have went there and not played so well and might not have won that game and had a hangover. I didn't think we had a hangover. I thought we played well in the first half. I think they made some plays. I think we didn't have some answers on those plays. I think that's what it was. But I wanted to give them confidence how much I believe in them.
Coach, you're playing for your first championship, so to speak, of the weekend. Winning the SEC West hadn't happened here in 8 years. Is that brought up to the team this week? Is that talked about?
No. Obviously, it's something when you come to LSU that you want to do. Our players want to do, but we don't talk about it. We really don't. This is the next game up. We said we're going to look at where we at the end of the season, assess where we at the end of the season. We wanted to win every game. That's one things that we didn't want to do. So Arkansas is our next game. This is game number 11, and our goal is to beat Arkansas.
Grant Delpit's been battling a few injuries last few weeks. I guess how close is he to healthy right now, you think?
It's tough when he doesn't practice all week, and I don't know if many players would have played against Alabama if Grant wanted to play, and I thought he did well. And obviously that ankle is very sore, and not getting reps hurts sometimes. Making tackles in open space hurts sometimes because he can't bend or run like he wants to, but he's playing. We're going to give him a couple of days off this week, and hopefully he can get healthy for this weekend.
Coach, over here, kind of piggybacking on that, is there a couple of things? Is there any possibility that you would rest Delpit for a game and hope that he could improve and with some added rest? And two, exactly, you say you're going to get it fixed. Exactly what do you think you can do defensively to remedy whatever you think the issues are?
Okay, well, first of all, with Grant, I rely totally on Jack. Jack Maruccio, I think, is the best in the business. Gives me a report every day. I let the coaches coach, doctors be doctors, and he tells me what they can do. And he says, Coach, he needs a rest, I'm going to rest him. He said, Coach, he's going to play, he needs to play. We're going to play him, and I'm going to talk to Grant. What happens is I talk to the trainer, then I talk to the player. I said, the trainer says you can go. Can you go? So, yeah, so that's why we put him in. So if Grant needs rest this weekend, we'll give him rest. We need to fix our run fits. There was a couple of runs that gave us some problems. I, for one, called the run stunt on that first long run in the second half. It didn't work. We were trying to be a little too aggressive. There was a new run play on arc read on the 4 technique that they hadn't showed, created a lot of space, gave us some problems. We had a couple of guys out of position, so we need to fix our position on those plays. I think all those things that happened on Saturday will attribute to, number one, putting them in better position, and number two, making plays when they're in that position. So I think all those things could be fixed.
Ed, Jamar's the Offensive Player of the Week this week. What did you see in him when you were recruiting him from high school, and how much has he grown since arriving on campus?
Well, I remember his camp going into his senior year, and I was standing near his father. It was summer camp, and he ran a slug or a slant in the goal against one of the top defensive backs that we were recruiting. And he won clearly. And I told his dad, I said, I don't know if Jamar knows it, but Jamar's coming to LSU. He was committed to Florida at that time. And we felt that one of the things, Jamar has great speed, great hands, but he's unusually strong for a wide receiver. And I think that's and competitive. I think that's what makes him great.
You said that Saturday night after the game, you didn't want to be too hard on everybody, but today's to tell the truth Monday.
Yeah.
So what is your message to your defense about if you want to achieve what you're headed for, this is what you got to do?
The first thing I do is look at myself. And I coach the defensive line with those guys too. So I look at the way we went practice last week. I look at what we showed them in practice, what we didn't show them in practice. I look at coaches, what we can get better. Hey, yesterday we spent 3 hours on maybe 4 plays. Hey, what do we need to do to put our guys in better position? I want to make sure as the leaders of the program, we're giving them the right thing at the right time to do. Okay, now, so we're going to give them that today, and we're going to put them in great position, and obviously they're going to have to make the play. So I think it's a combination of both, but I'm never going to put it on the players. I'm going to put it on me first.
Ed, I know focus is on winning right now and the team, but Joe's getting a lot of draft buzz, and a lot of people are slotting him pretty high in the draft. What have you heard on his draft stock and how it's risen, and then what traits do you think would make him successful in the NFL?
I haven't talked to anybody personally. I guess Derek informs me of the scoop out there, so he's my scoop guy, but I'm hearing the same thing y'all hearing, that he's going to be a high draft pick, and I hope he is. And obviously, he's mad that he threw 2 interceptions, so he won't want to talk about that today. He's that much of a competitor. But I do believe that he is going to be a high draft pick if things go right. And I think that he's going to have a great career in the NFL. And whoever gets him is going to get a tremendous quarterback.
Kerry Vincent's another guy who didn't quite get the start, but then comes back in, gets the interception. I guess, was that kind of a you could have rested him if you needed to situation?
Yeah, I think that we spot played him. And in certain spots we needed him to play. We're very thin back there. Give it to Kerry. He wanted to play. And that was a big interception.
Coach, as this season has built, I mean, 4 top 10 wins, and what's the craziest thing that's happened maybe to you and Kelly off the field with people, that maybe wouldn't happen not in Louisiana?
That with me and Kelly?
Or you being out in the public?
First of all, since August, I haven't been out in the public. I've been yeah, other than the radio. I just, and Kelly knows, but the attention, I think after the Alabama game, to see the joy in the people's face in Louisiana, I think there was 30 kids in our driveway. I think just to see, I remember as a kid watching LSU play and what it meant to me, and just to see the joy in those kids' face, I think that's the biggest thing.
30 kids from the neighborhood?
Yeah. And then Colton, Colton coming on over. Believe it or not, Colton FaceTimes Kelly every day. They're best friends now. What up? And he's talking to her and all that. So, those 2 things were off the field things that happened pretty good.
Yeah, Coach, Jamar got SEC Player of the Week, but him and Justin Jefferson are now semifinalists for the Bolitnikoff Awards. What does that acknowledgement show about the success this offense has had this year?
Well, it makes the decision to go to the spread the right one, I can guarantee you that. And but it goes to show you that Steve Ensminger and Joe Brady's done a tremendous job of putting the ball in playmakers' hands in space and let them make plays. 2 outstanding men from the state of Louisiana. We want to recruit the best players in the state of Louisiana, along with Terrence Marshall, 3 outstanding players. Goes to show the work that they did this summer, catching 10,000 balls and the competitive nature they had. I think the best thing I can say about this group is their character and their closeness, and they pull for each other.
Coach, on offense, it's obvious up the middle from your center to your quarterback to your running back, those guys are the leaders of the offense. On the defensive side, especially watching Devin White yesterday against the Saints, have you not really had leaders emerge like you want to see, especially when it comes to vocal, because a lot of the good players are kind of quiet?
Yeah, I can't say that. I do believe that we're getting good leadership from Kellerman Chasson, Rashard Lawrence. And, besides last game, I thought Patrick Queen, I'm not saying he didn't play well last game, but he's been playing pretty good. Him and Jacob Phillips are very pleased with those guys. Pleased with, believe it or not, Apuaika had his best game at 62 in the nose tackle. So I think their scheme got us a little bit, and I don't want to get down on our players because we're 10-0, and we have a chance to have a great season. And I know these guys are going to answer the bell. So I think we're going to finish the season strong.
Coach, after seeing Tua get hurt on Saturday, do you have any plans to start pulling your starters and your star players a little bit earlier?
Yeah, you hate to. I said it at halftime, and I feel bad that I said it. The lady asked me a question, and me, I'm going to tell them how I feel. If we'd have got up for 1 more touchdown, we was going to pull Joe. But I can't say this or that. I'd have pulled this guy, wouldn't have pulled this guy. You just never know the circumstances and stuff like that, But as soon as I can pull Joe and put Miles in, I'm going to do it.
Hey, Ed, being several different places and obviously taking over a winning program here, but having to make changes even here to get back to the number 1 spot, do you feel like there is a minimum amount of time that a coach needs to really be able to put that fingerprint on a program, is just in your opinion?
Yeah, you bring up a very good point. I do believe it's a matter of getting the right staff and the right players. Now, maybe some guys can get that in the first year. I don't know. I don't know that. I don't know. Maybe it's been done. Maybe it hasn't. I know for me, it took me 3 years to get it, and through trial and error. And then I do believe that getting Joe Burrow as a graduate transfer made a difference in us last year. And then this year, getting Joe Brady, just keep on adding pieces. As you see things develop, you see, well, I got a little hole here. I got to add a piece there. I got to add a piece there. It seems like this year has come all together. So it has taken us 3 years. Yes, it is a process. Maybe that's too long. Maybe that's a short time. I don't know that. But I always knew at LSU that you have to win. I know the expectation of LSU is to win, and my goal has always been to win at LSU.
Ed, you guys sustained some injuries earlier in the year in the secondary. Todd Harris lost for the season, and you had some transfers at that position before the season began. How much does that play into how you can use your depth when some guys are banged up and things like that?
Yeah, it plays a lot. When you see Cordell Flott playing safety, he's a freshman corner playing safety. He never played that position before, not much anyway. So we were having to move corners to safety position. We can't be as multiple as we want to be. We even thought about moving a couple of receivers over to safety. I asked them, they didn't want to. Obviously, they wanted to stay on at wide receiver position, but.
Who were some of those wide receivers you're thinking of?
Well, I'm not going to say that, but I'd ask a couple of them. It wasn't number one, I promise you that.
Ed, the hit on Joe out of bounds on the Ole Miss sideline Saturday, they got a penalty for out of bounds. Should there be more there? Is it a potential, for targeting, or should be reviewed? I mean, the game's getting long enough, but I mean, it seems like that could be a more dangerous play than getting hit helmet to helmet on the field.
I agree with you. I think that he should have pulled off, and I'm sure Coach Luke is not pleased with the guy. I watched it again this morning, and it's senseless to do that. And maybe there should be a stiffer penalty. You're right.
Ed, your players would come out here on Saturdays throughout the summer working together. How much, after all of that, did you see they were ready when you got here during preseason practice? How much did it set up what's happening now?
Yeah, I felt that coming off the field in camp and watching our offense practice, going, wow, execution, wow, just every day. And the thing I noticed was not a lot of balls on the ground. Last year we missed too many balls. We dropped too many passes. This year we can go through a practice and maybe 1 ball's on the ground, and the precision in which the balls were thrown and the catches, and it just seemed like everything started flowing, and that's because of that work this summer.
Hey, Coach, was visiting with Clyde's high school coach last week, Dale Weiner, and he said it's a coach's dream when your most talented players are also the most unselfish. That oftentimes the most talented players are all about themselves. He said, looking at your team, from Clyde to Patrick to on down the line, those guys are.
Well, that's a big compliment coming from Coach. It starts with Clyde. He's very unselfish. As you see, he blocks, catches the ball, whatever he needs to do. This summer, he was teaching those young running backs. When the coach wasn't there, he's teaching them, he's coaching them. He's a team player through and through. I think he and Joe have taken a leadership role in his football team, which is phenomenal. I think that you look at all our players, they're unselfish. I don't think we don't mention, like today on Monday, we don't have an MVP. We don't mention players of the week in the SEC. That has never been mentioned. It's all about the team, and I know those guys have bought into it.
Ed, you referenced being an interim coach at one time. 2 questions out of that. Does a team automatically get a lift from a coaching change? And secondly, given what happened at Alabama, do you think, and maybe the quality of the opposition you got this week, although you don't want to put them down, do you maybe have a mindset of, like you said, protect your injured players, get your starters out because of what you got ahead?
Always, no question. Now, we're going to go into the team this game expecting a battle. But if we get into the game and we winning by a certain amount, I'm taking guys out. I'm taking guys out as soon as I can. Now, that doesn't mean I'd have took 2 out. I'm not saying that. I don't know that. I don't know. It's hard to take guys out before the first half. You know, teams can come back, especially in the SEC. You know what I'm saying? Now, what was the first?
An interim coach.
Yeah.
How much does a team get a lift from
I think they get juice. I mean, every time I've been an interim coach, the next week we came out on fire. I mean, but you try to change things up. You try to flip the script. Get your coaches home early. I fed them cookies. I think they ate 500 cookies the first day. Man, everybody was happy. So.
The thing that I noticed this weekend when Clyde runs the ball, like the shield, I guess, that he's built with just his strength conditioning,
Yeah.
the toughness that he exudes, and you also have that in Joe. Obviously, that's something that they work hard for. Is that, I know it's encouraged, but is that something that they just have to want, like players, they have to want it for themselves to be that mentally and physically tough?
Yeah, I think it comes a point where you can teach and train and coach, but when it comes from within, we all heard Ray Lewis's talk. Effort is between you and you. And I think that comes a point with those guys. Effort is between you and you. You get out in that field, man, we can put you out there, but as hard as you want to go and as tough as you want to be, that's up to you.
Coach, with potentially so much down the road this season, and y'all have already beat a bunch of ranked teams. When you're playing teams that have losing records last week, is that a motivational job you have to make sure you do?
Yeah, no question. I have to make sure that we're practicing well. And I think we practiced well last week, except on Tuesday. We were not prepared. I didn't think it was going to get that cold when that wind started blowing. And I don't think Tuesday we had as sharp as practice as we want to, but Wednesday we did. I got to make sure that we have great practices this week. I know our defense is going to be motivated. I know our offense is going to be motivated. Believe it or not, I talked to Coach Ensminger this morning. There's some things that we thought we were sloppy at some things. Obviously the interceptions and stuff like that and the turnovers. So there's a lot of things we can get better. This is a highly motivated staff, highly motivated team.
Coach, I know when you got here, you talked about having to change some things internally to get where you are today. Can you give us an example or two of some of the things that you felt that you had to do, not with just player acquisition, but with just other things to make the program elite again?
Well, in order to be the leader, you have to do the things that you believe in, not what somebody else did. And I can't do what somebody else did. That's not me. I wanted this to be one team, one heartbeat. I didn't want this to be a team of individuals, guys who want to make All-American and be first-round draft choice. I wanted us to be a team that played for each other, a team that fought for each other. And I wanted to be a coach that coached from within, not above. I wanted everybody to have the same role. Everybody's role, from the manager to the head coach, is equal. We all have to do our jobs in order for this to have success. And I wanted this place to be a place where you want to come to work. I think we've all had jobs where you want to come to work, you get up, you listen to different music, you get there early, you work, you're more productive. We've all been at jobs where you hit the snooze button, work starts at 8, you show up at 7:59, you punch the clock, you can't wait till the bell rings at 3 o'clock. I didn't want this to be that type of job. So I think that the atmosphere within the building, I think people are happy. I'm not saying it wasn't before, because I enjoyed working for Coach Miles, but I wanted it to be an atmosphere that everybody was pulling on the same side of the rope. Everybody had the same type of role, and everybody wanted to be together. Now, obviously, get great players and get great coaches.
We've heard stories from the players talking about how Clyde Edwards-Helaire on the sideline, how he wants the ball, how he was getting in the game. In what ways have you seen him take command of that position?
Well, obviously, he leads by example. I don't think Clyde has missed many days of practice. Clyde's always, when he walks in the room, he always has a presence about himself. He's always smiling. I've never seen him have a bad day yet. I see him encouraging everybody. And I think he and Joe, like I said before, have a special relationship. I know he's worked hard on catching the ball. I know he's worked hard on learning this offense. I think he's become a complete all-around back by his work ethic. Hey, guys.